Bonsoir! Hello everyone and welcome back for that Road to 9 Dan series. Last week we had a little insight on pie chess and we had the tournament, but tonight we are back for the Road to 9 Dan, and last time we were in that series we lost actually the very last game by missing a cannon for that. And right now we are actually trying to reach the 9th cup, so we are 8-10 cup, and as I discussed that in the chat, I will play with the songs, outer songs, like this. Alright, I'm just checking that, yeah, perfect. Our works, kind of. And let's go. So our opponent, he's 10 cup also, but he has not played so much game, but already quite a win-lose balanced ratio, so that may be okay. Pushing that pawn is good with the elephants in that position because they will be supported by the knight, and I also will give space for the elephants when the elephants may join like this. Yep, that's kind of modern art, but actually that's how the pattern looks. And right now his composition is still symmetric. I could go for exchanging the pawn, and I will have better elephant play if my pawns are exchanged in the center, so I will force the exchange of those pawns, and my elephant will have plenty of play after that. So here takes, maybe elephant takes, so I think I messed up and I gave a pawn there. It was quite bad. But we'll find a way. So here the best is elephant takes here, because if elephant takes there, there is a little combination. Rook here, the elephant is threatened, the elephant has to come back, and once the elephant comes back there is a threat there, so elephant takes pawn here and the pawn is pinned because of the rook. So I hope he will take that pawn, but it would be good for him if he takes this pawn because my rook is threatened and I only have one square. So what I was yeah, but there is rook takes. Now I'm not really playing well right now. Okay, I will keep this pawn for now, but I may sacrifice it at some point for a rook mobility, and now he's opening his rook, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have gone and sacrificed the pawn. I don't play so much that opening, so I don't have the classics. What I'm trying to do is maybe to sacrifice the elephant and see what's going on here. I have to free my rook if he wants to bring the cannon back. There's no difference for the elephant in the fortress. This elephant could threaten here. There's no extra mobility, and that's the same actually for knights. So we'll try to bring the pawn here, bring the knight to activate that rook on this file, but the center is quite empty for now, and we are a pawn down. Our opponent is taking time, but still we are taking more time, and that's good because after that he may go here in order to defend. So I will threaten the pawn, and the other idea is that if the elephant comes back there, then the pawn is not threatened. I was more expecting a pawn here rather than pawn here. This seems better because it links the pawn, but it keeps that pawn a bit more isolated, so I prefer with red to take with that pawn here. Pawn push. Okay, and now we'll give some play for the rook, and I will simply wait there. I have to pay attention to all the squares that the knight could use to play, but for now it's safe. Rook here, sure, rook there. Knight here would be the best because it covers that, and it also breaks the pin threat even if the elephant stays there, but it's not worth it to sacrifice the cannon in order to take an elephant, and I don't have so much advantage in that spot. Now the difference is that this elephant cannot come back to the center, and I'm trying to find a way to use that. What I want to prevent is a rook check here, and after that I will play my little combination, which is elephant takes, rook here, and if rook here, mainly rook takes pawn in order to defend the elephant, but after rook takes pawn, knight here. But before that I have to mind that elephant. Rook here, that's not the best in terms of mobility because there is only one file, and if you manage, for example, to bring a cannon here, the rook is down and weak, but that's for what I want the best way for me to defend. He could go pawn here, rook takes, but after that there is this elephant hanging, but my elephant here is hanging, but before that I can simply sacrifice there. I didn't want to bring back the pawn to the center because that would have locked the rook and also unlink the pawn and maybe lose that support here. So I'm more comfortable with the rook, and I plan to move that elephant quite quickly to get some play for my elephant. Elephant there, I missed that move, which is a good move. So here giving the pawn in order to break the elephant, but after that I'm able to take there, and that's check. There may be a discovery with the elephant here, but right now we are stable, and if I move this elephant, then there is a threat here. Still, the play here is quite weak for us. Knight takes, that's okay to play. Rook takes, of course, and now check. The cannon, I don't know at which point. Here I use that to defend, because if rook here, then the cannon is kind of harder to defend. I have to mind this also. Elephant here. But now I may go for cannon here, king there, and that's a good defense for red. So let's play with the knight, using the fact that, for example, if rook here, there is the cannon defending, and since there is no pawn, the knight may go here or here and be very annoying. Not yet, because there is the rook, but there's a lot of square that can be reached by that, and the elephant is for now threatened. Problem that may arrive is elephant here, because once the elephant reach that square, then it's threatened there. Alright, so some play for the rook here. I don't like so much my position. Knight here. The risk is a rook there, and I am pinned, so that doesn't work. I try to gain that file with the rook in order to attack from both sides. But very quickly the cannon may enter the game with the rook, so we'll have to support those. Rook here, that's not the place I would have used. This pawn is a bit far and weak to the center, so I won't be able to save it. It can be taken, but now that's not my priority. Here I give that pawn, but the idea is to bring the rook here, since that cannon would be pinned, so that's not so good to take. The best may be to do that, because if the cannon moves there, then the knight is not doing check. So here elephants come back, the threat is here, but before that I will rook check. Trying to see also how I can use this cannon to get some attack. Basically there is two moves, king pawn here, king here, and pawn here is actually better. Still his two rooks, they control that file, so that may be enough to defend, and once that pawn, that knight disappear, I lose the cover on this knight, so complicate.
10초 남았습니다.
If I move the knight, I lose because the rook takes, and if I don't, and I forgot that the elephant was threatening there, so cannon takes seems clearly to be the best, or even elephant here. I don't like how it's going, as you can guess.
10초 남았습니다.
Okay, let's try something. Before that, he had an even better move. He could do cannon check here, and I simply lose the rook. Not playing very good right now, sorry. Elephant takes.
초 남았습니다.
Yeah. Double check to prevent rook takes. The best is clearly to go here. I try to avoid the exchange, but I don't have enough material to control there. Maybe if he does rook here, there is a nice checkmate here, because the cannon controls those square and the rook checkmate here. So my only hope is to rook here if he thinks it forced the exchange. Otherwise it's complicated, but the best is to move the elephant. That would simply check. Cannon check, why not? If king here, rook checkmate. If king here, cannon check, not the best. So
10초 남았습니다.
but if king here, rook takes, pawn takes, rook checkmate, so that's the only move. Even there, rook takes, that's checkmate. Pawn takes, rook takes, and since I'm pinned, I have the only move, pawn here. And there's no way to recover from this.
10초 남았습니다.
Yeah. Okay. Rook here, maybe, check. But now I can come back to the middle because there is two pieces. I really hope he thinks about this. That's my only chance. Or even guard here, or guard there. But otherwise, simply okay, check. I was expecting this one, and I can find some rest. Not so much. Here doesn't work. Rook takes. That's a great move because threatens checkmate after that. Hello, Christoph.
10초 남았습니다.
Knight here. He's afraid of losing the knight like this. The problem is that my knight is completely pinned and useless.
10초 남았습니다.
I try check. King here. Trying to give some play with the cannon on that square, and also at the same time I can block if the rook goes there and try to checkmate. But still, that's not really convincing moves.
10초 남았습니다.
I really want one of those two rook to move because they are completely blocking that knight that has like 0 squares. Cannon here. There is a little trap if nothing happens. Rook here and rook takes, and that's a checkmate. A funny one, but not really. Okay, that's not working anymore, but I have some play for my knight actually. Yeah, threatening a rook, so that gives us, I would say, a tempo, because he will move this one and he has to stay on that line, because otherwise I will take, and that's a checkmate threat because of the rook diagonal here, which is covered by the cannon. I hope you will maybe lose on time, I don't know. Trying. Rook there. Rook takes. As we said, we have the cannon in the back of the king to prevent the checkmate, the back rook checkmate. And right now, there's not sure there is a clean way to deal with that, because the fortress is very empty. For example, knight here to provide a pawn here to provide the support, but I simply can move my knight. But he goes with the rook, and I'm not happy with this.
10초 남았습니다.
Okay, maybe cannon here. Oh, but there is a rook hanging, so rook there is likely to be the best.
10초 남았습니다.
Oh, there is the elephant. Oh, no. I hate that.
10초 남았습니다.
Yeah, nice nice catch on finding that the elephant was also covering the cannon. Yeah, I can take the cannon, but I lose that knight, and I've not had so much material left after that. And I cannot jump and jump back with the cannon because of that back rank, so still I will do it. Because I will bring the knight here and try to give some space to my king. Pawn here, and that's directly checkmate. uh, there's no way for me to quickly block that elephant. Knight here is not doing nothing. Yeah.
10초 남았습니다.
No, not anymore. I will try this. Cannon here, cannon there, and to threaten a very weak checkmate. If I take with the knight, my rook was hanging there, so and there's no checkmate with the knight, so I had to save the rook and give the knight, and maybe here I can go there, but even here you can simply sacrifice the rook. That's enough material. Yeah, bringing the rook to the center of the fortress. That's a good defense. Cannon here. Rook there for probably. I have to pass in the back of the defense like here with my rook to be useful.
10초 남았습니다.
Pawn here, actually that's good. Cannon, can go with the cannon here, that's check, that's quite annoying because there is only like one move. And after that he does rook here, and that's kind of over.
10초 남았습니다.
Okay. To threaten the rook. Rook here, it's good. What's good is that now the cannon can't jump yet. I try to see something like this. If that rook moves, maybe that rook goes here. That's a nice checkmate threat. If he goes there, because rook takes, quad takes, and rook checkmate. Like this.
10초 남았습니다.
So on the rook here, the only move is king here. Okay. The knight is a bit annoying there. Oh, thanks. I did the arrow in plus. That's a script that is running and catching movement with the mouse, and I hope that's useful to follow the stream, and that's good, especially for elephants like this that gives clearly the squares that are important.
10초 남았습니다.
Rook there. That was just to gain the tempo. I prefer the rook to be on that knight rather to be on that pawn, but in the end that's the same problem. He's covering a square that is not so useful because that's already covered by the knight. And I will... yeah, I try to jump in the back of the defense, but there's no checkmate. We are already 98 moves, that's a lot, but not checkmate yet. Getting some mobility of the knight, but he can simply come with the pawn here.
(10초) 남았습니다.
Rook there, that prevents the cannon from jumping. I will try king here. Not really convinced, but not sure there is something better to do actually. Maybe the best is to resign, I don't know. Should I resign or continue a few moves? That's the best. Careful with the threat. Rook here, rook here. But what I am trying is to take back the control and try something. On rook here I have to bring back the king there to hide. Yeah, a choice. I will try one last thing, like a rook here and a rook there. Because on a rook here there's no way to stop actually the loss of the rook here or the checkmate. So if that rook doesn't come back there or somewhere else, there may be some hope. Yeah, the cannon here works fine also. Yeah, without the knight that's even more complicated. But he seems to struggle to to conclude.
(10초) 남았습니다.
King back to the center. Okay. So cannon here check, pawn here, that does check. Rook there, pawn here probably. I would have loved the king to go somewhere else in order to win the rook. The threat right now is rook checkmate here because those two guards are pinned. It's not a great defense, but there is rook here and rook there if pawn's here. Okay, I'm glad he brought this pawn because I think it's a bit weaker. There will be a repetition issue in a few seconds. That's the message to say that I don't have the right to bring the king here, so I will bring a pawn. And he can brings one. So I think I will resign because that's a bit disrespectful what I am doing. So I will go until no, by chess there's right now
10초
no
남았습니다.
no repetition prevention. Yeah, he could simply go there. There's no big deal. That's why I wasn't really getting why he was acting like this. And right now there is the checkmate threat, and I don't have so much to do. So probably the best idea is to give some space for the king.
10초 남았습니다.
Yeah, I can do that after. I started with this one because if double check king takes, and that would have broken everything. But I will show you after. Oops. Pawn here, check. And quad there, and checkmate. And there is no way to prevent that, so
10초 남았습니다.
I will give him the checkmate he deserves. And I will do better next game. Okay, so I messed up the beginning with the pawn fork here. I never played outer elephant, so not so into that. I forgot that elephant move, but most of all, so here, why not rook takes there, rook takes, king takes, that breaks double check because there is no pawn takes, pawn take, sorry, and here cannon takes is not so good because the knight is actually covering the square, and at that point I have even less attack than I had before. So that's why I went with the other. I could have tried to play any discovery, but I didn't find what I was really looking for. Maybe check here. If the king moves there, that's directly checkmate because of the rook. So maybe check here, but that's the same problem because here there is a checkmate since that square is controlled with the cannon. King here. There, and now he can bring something there, the knight or the guard, and when the guard is here there's no way to kind of sacrifice because the knight is there, and that's not checkmate, so the discovery here wasn't working. And since at that point both rook are linked, I cannot move my rook and win a guard, and same for the cannon, so I was kind of dead here. Maybe rook there, that's no. Alright, let's do better. And I won't be going for outer song this time. I'm never playing that for a reason. So we are 0 point on that 10th cup. And we are against also a 10th cup. Pawn here, side elephant. Thanks. Not the best game. I saw that I wasn't into this one. My play is very irregular most of time. I'm better when there is some pressure. Yeah, but I never practice. No, I'm not even sure that's used to practice this, because whatever happens, you can be in a position that you don't have to play this opening with blue, because as blue you choose in second position. Of course you can fall against people who use that with blue, but that's playing with the red, so that's not the same idea directly. But even with red I'm not so good, and I got crushed a few times. Yeah. In a situation like that, blue won't lose the rook because the move here protects the rook, but the problem is that this cannon will pin that knight and that rook, because if one of them moves, then it will be complicated. Of course he can check as an intermediary move, but I simply hide in that spot. Leaving the elephant wouldn't have been so great, because he can join with his elephant, check, and after take and threaten the rook here. He can also go for rook there, but pawn here, and there is no supported square there. So he goes for the knight, but the problem is that now it's pinned. And I will simply wait in that position and develop the pieces, and use the fact that I will have more pieces playing than he has. Okay, cannon here is not great, and this pawn is going to the exterior and leaving a hole here, but there's no knight that can join quickly. That also controls the squares of the elephant, and that will give some play for that rook here, because that file is going to stay a while unless he sacrifices something. And I'm a bit without so much solution with my two elephants, so I will sacrifice this elephant to get some space for my rook. Probably pushing there. But once it's pushed, now my cannon has a very good file, because the elephant is not supported, and this elephant has no really good squares. Yeah, here that threats that guard, and I don't want the elephant to exchange the guard, so I will bring that guard to the center, and that elephant has no squares actually, because all my pieces are placed. The other advantage is that I may give some play for my rook on that side. I may give, once the guard is here, some play for this cannon, and I have a way better position here. Yeah, I will bring the guard there and take the file or exchange the rook. And if he doesn't exchange the rook, I will check with mine and bring the other one, and that will be 2 rook on that side. I'm not so into moving the other guard, because if I had went with this guard, that guard would have only have one square left, and my king would have no place to go here. I can describe that more in the analysis after, but I wouldn't have been able to play this move like this. But I have right now the mobility to the cannon again, and I have also this file, which will be used for the rook, so I prefer to go with this one. Also in terms of mobility for the king, because if I don't know, rook there, that would have been a rook checkmate if there was a guard here. Whereas in that position, I could even flee there if I don't know, if a cannon arrives here or nasty things. There is a threat here, but no way to remove this elephant. Pawn here doesn't work because there is an elephant. So I will have to let the cannon like this. Cannon here does not accomplish nothing, so maybe that's for bringing the cannon back, and I still control both of them with my cannon. And as I said before, now that's linking back the pawn to the center and getting the rook activity on that side of the board, and he goes for the exchange, and that rook will be great soon. He cannot retreat the king, because if the king's retreat, the knight was free, so he goes with the cannon here in order to go there if rook check. Now I'm trying to use that pawn majority to remove that one and to push those 2 pawns, because elephants are not so good to stop pawns, and there's no other pawn to counter, so that will take a lot of time, but pushing the pawns there may do the job, since this is pinned. If he goes for pushing like this, there is directly a threat here, so he's kind of constrained by that rook. That may be to bring the cannon here. Okay, elephant takes. I remind that this elephant is covered by the knight. Now I have this little pawn, but I exchanged that for an elephant, so that's normal. And here there's a little... yeah, there's a little combination to gain a knight. I see that this knight is hanging because the king is not there anymore, so I'm trying to find a way to threaten it and at the same time threaten another piece. So the way to do that is to threaten the cannon, because if cannon's there, then cannon takes knight, and if cannon's here, then rook there. Also to chase the cannon, because if the cannon has not so much space and he has to go here, and once it's there I can simply push and he will jump back here and I can simply move the rook there, and after at the very end I gain that knight because the king left the defense. We could think about moves like this to defend the knight and the cannon, but this would threaten and the knight and the cannon, so that's not a defense that will be holding. So he goes for the only move, and right now if he goes there that's exactly the same problem, so he has to go here, and I do the same with the rook. If he goes 57, oops, sorry, I forgot to swap. 57, so what? Okay, yeah, that's what I described. So now cannon there, and boom. And he even can't chase the cannon here because that's check. Yeah, I could have gone with the knight, but I'm okay with the rook here because I could, for example, exchange those elephants like this and have a well-placed rook. So now he's threatened to release the pressure here. There is several ideas, but if I bring the cannon, it brings the pawn here. I could go for forking the elephant and the pawn. They also could go for elephant here, so pawn takes and rook takes, or yeah, I go for the elephant, maybe sorry, knight takes. Pawn takes was a bit weaker because now I can give extra play for the cannon. And there's, yeah. Elephant 62. Yeah, elephant 62 was better. Yeah, actually. Okay. So here a big mistake is to defend the cannon with the pawn, because if pawn push then simply rook takes and the pawn cannot take back because there is the king in the same row. File, sorry. Alright, so giving some play for the cannons, but he will have to deal with the knights. Two threats on the pawn here. Not really paying attention. And there is a checkmate here if he doesn't care, so that's why he had to defend that now. So that's giving a knight, but there is a big counterpart about this. That's knight sacrifice here. Because if guard takes, then checkmate, and if guards don't take, there's a lot to come. But I missed that. No. Threatening the rook. If cannon takes rook, and if cannon takes knight, then cannon takes knight, and I am 3 pawn ahead in the end. So that's enough to get the game. Knight here, I don't really like it. Little checkmate threat, nothing big. He cannot repeat rook back and rook up. So he goes there. At some point I'm trying to get that cannon here in order to check. Rook here, rook there. He may actually gain the pawn there. Or no, I can simply ignore that. But once he comes back, I have to be careful because rook could take this one since there is the cannon and I couldn't take back, so that's the idea, but it doesn't move, and I will simply unpin my cannon and secure my king on that spot, and once the cannon is down, that prevents a rook from checking wherever it is. And I don't want the king to go back to the center, or I mean not like this. And here there is a not so easy to stop threat here. Rook there. That's okay because now the rook is pinned. King here. Not the best for sure. Yeah. Resigns because I could push the pawn, that would have been okay, but pawn here, so he has to go with the rook there and rook here, because now the rook is dead. Can only go here and I could capture it. Probably rook 47. Yeah, better to go with the pawn before, because rook can go to 57. And what you... Thanks. What you mentioned about the guards... yeah, here. So, since the elephant threats... guard here. That's a lot of people there, and okay, I gain directly the tempo, the right to balance my cannon, but I don't need to do it right now. And this guard here he can only flee like this, and that's a lot of tempo for not so much. So better to free the space before. I hope that's a satisfying explanation. Alright, let's go for the next one. As you can see, game are beginning to be a bit more longer than they used to be at the very beginning. That's because the level is increasing in general, and that Korean chess games are a bit longer than Western chess. And I went for a right side elephant. Elephant here. Pawn here. I'm not sure I saw that variation so often. I don't. It enables knight here, but after elephant there to put 2 threats on that pawn, and at the same time, how can I use that little hole? I can use that with the rook. Rook here. I will wait a few moves before. On the rook here, the good move is to bring the rook there to cover the defense. But I may wait that the knight goes there, because once the knight is there, the rook here does a solid defense. Before that, I will bring this one. There is a weak pawn here, rook there. That's a double threat. And what's the deal with rook here? Not sure yet. Alright, I go for this. He could try defending like this, but that's a bit dangerous. That gives the idea to go with the cannon here, because the rook has only the file to flee. Okay, rook here, that's for elephant here, and rook there, supported by the cannon, trying to dig in the fortress. Still I will take. So the knight there is right now doing a fork, and on the rook, okay, he goes with the knight, so that means he doesn't go with the rook. And as you can see, my rook are having good cooperation, playing quite on both sides. This rook will very likely go and check here, which is very bad for red, because that elephant won't be playing, and that rook will have to stay to defend the elephant. So rook check, and I will be paying attention about my rook just after that. I could have go here in order to threaten the cannon, but quads there are doing fair job. What is my idea is to bring the cannon here and the cannon here to do some kind of checkmate. So I have to unpin my cannon before, like this, and here there is a very mean threat of cannon there that would be deadly actually. Okay, my rook is threatened again, and I don't really like it, because now the knight is again defending. The counterpart is that there is a pawn hanging that still I will go for the cannon. I can, yeah, bring that elephant to threaten the knight and also check. I was thinking about that, but I prefer to go with the cannon right now. I have to be careful also if one day the cannon goes here, but I doubt he will be able to achieve that. And now here again, same, I go with the guard that gives space for my king, even if that's leaving the threat there. Things that could be playable is rook takes, cannon check, guard here and taking back the rook. That would gain an elephant, but the cannon is not in a very good place here, so maybe it's better or to go with the knight here, or even better to join the party with that cannon. Yeah, I can do that also, yes, but I prefer to bring even more pressure rather to take a piece that is not active, and that's not a good move because as we said, when that elephant is blocked the rook has to defend. So here for sure I can check, but is it better to check with the cannon before? Cannon check, guard here, rook takes, guard here, and I can take with the cannon, and that's kind of painful. On the other end, yeah, I go with the cannon before. When you play somewhere else with the cannon rather in the fortress, you have to make sure that there's no risk that a cannon goes and blocks your king, because that file is already controlled by his cannon, so I really have to make sure that there won't be trouble or that the attack works. I can play cannon takes, but that's sacrificing a cannon for a rook. Or I can come back. There was a little cannon takes that would have threatened my rook, but that's not a big deal. But it's better to know. And right now let's play again with the cannon. Since this square is blocked by a guard and the rook, therefore the file is threatened. And as we said, now he took advantage about this file. I have to check that there won't be any checkmate or nasty things happening. because this cannon is out of play. Uh, it's a bit of shame I'm not finding my way to conclude that. Knight here is not so great for me. Knight here, king there, king takes. Knight takes. Don't get the point. Okay, there was a little threat. I will show you in the analysis afterward. There was a move that I wasn't expecting. Cannon takes, but that's not a big deal. Knight here is better. Already 2 threats on his cannon, and that may be complicated to handle right now, because he cannot take considering the pinning, and he has to go for this squad, otherwise that's directly rook checkmate. And if he goes for this squad, I can simply sacrifice here, and if rook takes, cannon back, he has to go with the guard and the rook checkmate. Okay, so he missed that. Finally! That was not great. I had a rook that I could win, but I didn't took this one. But I want to show you about this knight. Here, if pawn takes, simply then rook here, kind of a check. The best move is to bring back the cannon, and in that position the best to do maybe to, I don't know, I was thinking about rook takes. I have to take with the king, and now with the knight, so the pawn has to go, maybe this one, and I'm not sure, because I was not comfortable with the fact that those two cannons had something that I couldn't counter with my cannons, so that would have been check. Only way to do that, check with the king on the last row of the fortress, not good. Maybe check after that. Rook here is not able, so probably go here, but that's kind of check again. Yeah, would necessitate more calculation. But before that, here I messed up a calculation. I was thinking about, I don't know, I forgot the guard here, but I was thinking of taking, and if he took, then I take the other rook. But the better was clearly to, yep, sorry, that's one move, 2 more. The best was to simply take the rook here. Alright, and we are now 2 of 5. We'll do another for course. And that will be with Han this time. And I won't be playing outer sang. So he goes for a right side elephant. And often it's better to open with the side where your knight is at the exterior of the play. Cannon here. And if cannon backs, he is not able to gain a rook because he has no support, considering his configuration. Maybe elephant. Right. The other elephant goes here and is not threatening nothing critical yet. And I will push those elephants. The idea is that if rook's there to double threat the pawn, I can simply push because it's covered by the knight, and also that's a nice square for the knight whatever happens. So maybe the idea can be to go like this, but right now I can defend with the rook, and I have a free file. So I will bring that pawn here at some point, maybe not yet, to secure the position. I have to could have been careful with that knight here, but that's not anymore in case. Still, the cannon can go back here, and at the same time the rook can enter that file. So here, a bit annoying. Rook check here. The cannon here are defending them each other. The rook could go here, but there is already a double protection. Of course, it's annoying to have the rook in the back. The rook can't go here, and I'm giving that elephant, but that elephant hasn't so much play, and I can use now taking that pawn. Of course, I'm now a pawn down, but I will be attacking quite soon. I have to defend that pawn, for example, pushing, because otherwise rook takes, rook takes. Rook here, that was the most natural move. I'm having a look at cannon sacrifice here, because cannon takes, rook takes, check, king moves, rook check, and I don't have so much openings, so yeah, I will be defending for now. And I will have some attack, for example cannon here and a rook there. That's a way. Okay, the idea is to go back down. There's only one move. And the emergency is to secure the king, because there's a lot that can be coming from that side, the rooks, the cannon, so I have to secure my king, and I will have to the counter attack after that. Of course, rook takes is okay. Sacrificing here is now not so useful. The rook here is holding the pawn in case of cannon takes, pawn takes, and there's no way to go. So the rook has to leave here, that's the only square. And let's now counter attack. Rook could have taken that pawn, because it was not defending, but that was probably losing a cannon with rook there, with the double attack. Rook here, so better not to take this poisoned pawn. Cannon there, that's defense. I forgot that this cannon wasn't pinned because there were two pieces, so he could simply take the rook for free. Okay, I won't give the rook for too long. Yeah, I got lucky. I mean, I would have discovery check with the knight, but that discovery check has not really good squares, so that would have been completely losing. Here, of course, there is the cannon in the same row, but that's not a big deal. And since you removed, I cannot take back, but I have, I would say, an extra move with this rook. I can take here, for example. But it seems more useful to go with the knight and also give some support for the cannon. If pawn here, then pawn here, knight takes, and cannon takes quad. So rook there. There is a pawn hanging. Yep. And a rook cannot go here because of. He can try to sacrifice the rook actually. Yes. That's a free row, so of course I will be using that. And boom. Of course that cannon is pinned in that direction because of his cannon, but I can go here, for example. That would do check and threatening that rook. I also have a threat here, and there is only one guard in the fortress, so suddenly it's now way harder for him. Check, but can't be bad. King's here. Checkmate. Okay, he missed. Rook there. Cannon takes, and that's what made us able to win. Thanks. I will go for side elephant. This time I'm still with Han. Okay, so opposite side elephant. I don't play so much that opening, so we'll have to elephant here in second move. That's weird because that doesn't provide support for cannons, and yeah, wasn't expecting this. Okay, knight here. Check, and I can take that file because I jump with my cannon, and I'm fine with this. Checking going here is not very good because that breaks what I just gained. So maybe pawn push and cannon goes back here, and right now I have to pay attention to my rook. I could have go with rook there, but I'm not sure. I haven't done the calculation yet, and I'm losing back my my rook. So in that position I could go for pawn here to give some space, but if I do that he may push here and I will be kind of locked down, so I think the best is to take here with that pawn and probably pushing, I don't know, I will see. Rook there, yeah, seems natural. Rook here and after threaten to exchange. Sorry. Cannon there. Okay, removing the piece. If he goes there, okay, yeah. That's not great to have the cannon here for those pieces, but that's the game. I don't have so much choice. And here, if he brings the guard, I simply take. If he goes here, I simply take. So he has to go to that square. That's the only one. And there's no counterpart for me. Now I'll have to hide my king. And my idea is to get the guard and after that, yep, get some support. He could go back to exchange the rooks, but that's not great for him because he will have a knight that is not lost a tempo, and my rook is more active than his rook. Okay, let's get some play with that knight. Oh, seems like there is a big fork. No, doesn't work. because oh no, it works. Knight take. The cannon is here, and we are now a pawn up. Not so much counter play. No, I will be going back now. That's to avoid pawn here, because now the pawn cannot go back. But that's the reason why it's better to do it right now. Bring the knight, that's to get some play and some space. Okay, and here the fortress is in a good position. Begin with that one. Elephant here. And as you can see, that's pinned. This pawn here is pinned because of our cannon, so we can simply take that elephant, and that won't be easy for him. There's also a free pawn here, not anymore. But we go back and we are 3 point door, and there's like nothing to do here. The structure is solid, all the pieces are activated or will be activated very soon. I don't know, there is move like this, so that's a win. And I will probably, yeah, I will play one so that if I win I will be promoted 9th cup. Why not 3909 with the cannon? Could have been, I haven't considered that. Same side elephant, here the side is left. And I'll be trying a different system. So most of systems it's cannon in the middle, but there is also some systems exist with the elephant in the middle, and in Korean they are called myo san. So myo is for middle and san is for elephant. Oops, and I swap the coordinates. Thanks for reminding. Knight in the threatened. Not so much squares to go. I could even retreat here at some point. And he is already defending. That's not a great news. My idea is to bring the rook there, but on pawn push, if rook's here, I cannot bring that pawn back, so I'm simply giving support to that square in order to be able to dig into. the side. So that's giving a pawn. Rook takes, rook supported. But here that's now a check, and that's good. And I think this is winning a knight. Yeah. Trading cannon for elephant plus pawn. You mean cannon takes, rook takes, pawn takes? That could have been on the spot, but it doesn't look like. But for now, I'm okay with my cannons. There's no big deals. Because as I move this knight, my cannons are both defending each other and I can jump and jump back. I simply won't be able to control that central fight for a long time, so I still want to have those cannons kind of linked to defend each other, and I won't exchange a not active elephant and a pawn for cannon if that rook activity is not worth it. So this elephant will probably die. Because yeah, check. Rook here, maybe. Okay, elephant here. Have to be careful about this. But right now that's not the issue, and that's defending at the same time that spot. Okay. Not a big deal to give that elephant, that was kind of planned. So this cannon here is defended by this one, so if I remove the knight or bring something else, I will be able to take that cannon. That's what I am trying to consider. I may also bring my rook there to have a double threat, but I prefer my two actives rook and give that let that pinning here rather than directly play. Okay, and back. I have to be careful if my cannons get away about that. Okay, it was for the rook as we saw earlier. So the point. here. The two cannons are defending. There may be a little combination for. I have to pay attention if cannon check and win a rook like this. If the material is not there anymore, that would be a gain for him. But here the idea is to defend with the knight and everything is secured. And don't forget that those elephants, they control that spot and that spot. Now the same idea on the other side, threatening the rook. But right now, since this rook is active, I will trade and gain the promised elephant. And also remove my rook from that file, which was not good because of the cannon. If he doesn't go for the exchange, he has to check here, but he will have to deal with two rooks on the back rank, and considering that the guards are not linked, that will be not so easy to defend. Move knight. Okay, yeah, this. That's yeah, that may be useful at some point. Still, I use the elephant as a jumper for the cannon defending, but since there is no rook on the other side, I can go for this right now. Knight takes, pawn here, elephant double check, elephant takes. Okay, I go for this. Also because once the knight is out, this pawn is hanging, and if double threat with the cannon, I can simply come back or bring the knight to activate the defense again. So you can see here my cannon haven't moved at all, his cannon moved a bit, so those are different systems. I could even go with the rook here, because that cannon has 0 square and this one is pinned. Yeah, and since that knight has not great squares, like the only one is here, I played this move before, then the cannon cannot come back because it's pinned, so he may have to unpin the cannon, but elephant takes, guard or king takes, and I take that cannon here. Okay, that prevents the elephant from taking the knight. And now that's time to bring cannons in the game. Instead of directly bringing that cannon and breaking this cannon from jumping, I prefer to invest more time, bring that cannon here and after this one there, and I will have my 2 pawns in a good position. There is also this cannon here. Does that make sense? Quad sacrifice, no. Oh, that's to bring the pawn. but I can simply ignore that elephant. Bringing the cannon into the play is more worthy. And that structure with the guards there, not great. When you have to face cannon, he had to invest, but my rook can take the back rank, and we are slowly leading to a win. Alright, now we are in position. Cannon there, cannon in the stand. Knight here. Let's check, and that's kind of painful because there is the threat there, but he may have to leave. So rook check, and just after that rook takes elephant. And the cannon, there's no risk here. Oh, but it's even better than expected, because if king goes here, that's rook checkmate directly. If king goes here, that's rook check. Only one move is to bring the guard and the rook checkmate. And the very last solution... No, I don't want a replay. And the only last solution was cannon here, and that's rook takes, king go here, and rook checkmate. So actually that was a checkmate in 3 in that position. That was a nice check with the knight, since nothing else could bring, and the guards were in a awful position. So you saw a bit how it works with Mio-san with the elephant in the center. I'm not a great player of that variation, but we could dig in on that side of the board. We promoted to 9 cup, and that will be enough for tonight. Next week I don't know if I do again Road to 9 Dad or open play on Pi Chess, I will see. But tomorrow we are playing puzzles at 5 PM, and it will be checkmate in 3 moves, so a bit more calculation, and still you can vote. The system will be there, but you can only vote for the first move of the puzzle. So that's all for tonight. I hope you enjoyed, and I wish you a very nice evening. See you!